Hi, I'm Frank Bash, and you're watching the next step for my controller mapping for the machine controllers. In the last days you saw the mapping for the Mark 1 controller, and today I've finished the mapping for the Mark 2 controllers. So the main difference in these two controllers, you have on the older one 3 encoders in the master section for volume, tempo and swing, and here on the new one in the master section you get some selection buttons for the volume, swing, tempo, and a main encoder, for example, here. So, and you see the difference is you get color-coded pads. So it helps a lot to see on the remix decks or when you're in a sequencer mode which deck is playing or which deck got the sequencer running, and it's much faster workflow and much easier to find where you are at the moment. So for the newer version, for the Mark 1 version, there's nothing new, and for the second one, for the Mark 2, there's some difference, but only in the master section. You get on the master volume button, you select the master volume for the output. The swing button is for the swing of the selected sequencer, so you can change between deck A, B, C or D, and on this on the top you get sequencer, start sequencer A, sequencer B, sequencer C and D, so nothing new on this. On the tempo button here you get the tempo control for the master clock on this encoder, and you can bend it up and down, for example when you're playing live with some other guys. Now when you press the enter button, it's for looping. So now when you get a running loop, for example I load something in my deck, deck A, stop it, you get the loop section activated, so select deck A, play deck A. Or let the loop go. So for pressing down you activate the loop, and for pressing down again you deactivate the loop and change the size by these two buttons or with the encoder now. So the next big difference is when you see, okay, you're on deck A, for example I switch to the old controller on the deck A, you see nothing special here. For example, you load a remix deck and select your deck, leave the browser. Now you see which sound you selected, because the selected sound is always in color white, and you see it here on the older one. You're not really seeing, okay, which deck is on. It's very important to be fast on a setup like this, so you have always to know when you switch decks, okay, this is deck B, this is deck C, this is deck D, and selected sounds are always white, like I said, and the sequencer modes are the softer or lighter color. Here you see it's a dark red on deck A and a pink for the sequencer. dark green for deck B and lime green for the sequencer, yellow for deck C, and deck D is a blue, and for the sequencer lighter blue. So you always see, okay, which deck is selected and which sequencer is on. Maybe I show it you on the deck here. So we let play some samples. So start the sequencer for deck A. Now I switch to the sequencer mode. You see, okay, this is kick drum. And you see, okay, this one is activated. And you can add some variations by the looping functions or via the fx functions in traktor. The funny part about when you get two of these, you can do some live action. For example, you playing on deck A your sound live. And on the machine, this is, you go to the slot 4. So this is 4, slot 4. Now here also slot 4. And press play. And now you can play live on this side. And activate the sequencer on this side. Or change the sound on these. So you see, you can play around with that. But if you get only one of these, now you get an updated version for the mk2 and the updated version for the mk1. So I hope you will enjoy this mapping, this new mapping. And if you want to hear more sounds about me or some mix sets, you can go to my webpage to frankbatch.com. or follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and have a nice weekend. Bye bye.